Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going? I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's persevering, enduring, positive vibes, vibrating very high, trying to ascend to the God frequency. Lowering your vibration will impact you and make you more depressed. We need to drink water. We need to exercise. We need to vibrate at the highest possible frequency, guys. All right? I hope everyone's doing well. I love y'all. So, this is going to be a really good video. So, everything's a lie, guys. I went into school. I'm in college right now. I've went in with the assumption that everything's bullshit. They're trying to cover it up. They're promoting bad science. They want us to only get what they want us to get so we can make, fucking arts and crafts for them and they can make money off us. Okay? That's what we're allowed to know. That's why the school system is set up the way it is. So, history is no different. Any subject really is no different. There's secrets that they keep. So history is a passion of mine, and much like engineering, I'm a person that I like to know why. Okay, how and why, and I think you need to ask that for everything, not just science, because science is definitely like why things work the way they do. That's why I did it. But why do certain historical events happen? History looks at what happens, right? But we don't go into why. And if you get into the why, it's very interesting because certain patterns always seem to emerge from the beginning of humanity. And it seems like there's a force, there's a group that always somehow gets its claws around society, and they do this by every society has very ancient symbolism, and America is no different. So in this video, I'm hoping to uncover, I'm going to point out some of the obvious symbolism that you guys can look up and start noticing yourself, because it's everywhere, guys. The occult symbolism, the Illuminati, the Brotherhood, the Masons, whatever you want to call them, the Enlightened Brotherhood. I call them the communists sometimes. They are a group of people. It is an entity that runs everything, guys. That is the Brotherhood. Okay? The Brotherhood is all-knowing, all-powerful. They are taking over via an economic force. Okay? They are economically... Their goal is to economically enslave us, okay? And you need to look at the Federal Reserve monetary system if you want proof of that, okay? The Federal Reserve monetary system is everywhere, guys. Every country, I think, except like Iran and like North Korea or something. I don't know. Very few countries, even China, guys. Even China has this fucking Federal Reserve. Okay, guys? If they have the Federal Reserve, you can be assured that they're not a real enemy, okay? It's just fucking play fighting that they want us to be afraid of. They control everything, guys. The monetary system feeds out propaganda. It is 1984. We are always going to be afraid. There's always going to be a threat. We're always going to be afraid of something, okay? China is no different than the Soviet Union in the 80s. All right, guys? So this Brotherhood, right? So they always seem to reappear no matter what, right? There's always, you go back to, the Hermetic Society and the ancient Egyptian mystery schools. They were there, guys, okay? They were always there. They've just always been there. I'm going to be talking about the Masons specifically because the Masons are the people that took over America, okay? America, land of the Freemasons, okay? America is an implant of what the Masons wanted society to be, and we're going to get into that right now. So the first thing I want to talk about is so Freemasons historically were known to be, the builders. They built society. They had certain knowledge of math and physics. Building those cathedrals in the Middle Ages. You got to understand physics because they're building really impressive structures. Honestly, it's pretty decent engineering for the time. You have to have some knowledge of physics, and you have to wonder where they learned it from because your fucking peasant is not taking Newtonian physics. He doesn't understand what the force vector is. He doesn't understand statics and dynamics, and the Masons clearly did. They had some ancient mathematical knowledge, and of course they're getting it from the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood has always been around. They were around during the Middle Ages, and they granted the builders access because, yes, building your structure is very important to society, obviously. It's a reflection of society. Back then, they wanted greatness. They wanted, the Colosseums, the big-ass cathedrals. They were making art. We are not making art nowadays. We're making, efficient and decent structures, but they're very business-like, and that's very boring and bland, and that's a reflection of America. But, anyway, so we have to kind of start with what they're doing, right? What's the point of why would one want to why would one want to become a Mason? Okay, they advertise that they're you go up to a Mason and you're supposed to say, I'm a traveler in search of light. You're in search of enlightenment. Light is enlightenment, okay? Their goal is to resurrect you. They want you to find a spark and find a pursuit of knowledge. They want you to have a passion. They want you to have an interest in learning. They want you to be a great person who accomplishes things. That is what the Masons want on the surface. However, just like, so your average Mason, right? I'm sure some of you have family. People obviously know people who are Masons. They're not all fucking babies, guys. They're not all pedophiles, of course. You know, just like your Catholic Church, you know, there's the institution, right? There's your everyday Catholics, your priests, the churchgoers. They're all great, heavenly people, amazing people. Some of the best people I know are Catholic. But they're fucking kids at the Vatican. You know, same deal with the Masons. You don't, like, they're, so how this works is it's sort of the corporate Masons are the ones who are fucking the kids. They're the ones who really know, are in the know of what everything's, you know, and you can tell this by their ranking, right? So there's 33 degrees, and a lot of the local Masons that I know are 32nd degree, and they're like, yep, I've been 32nd degree for 10 years. I'm just waiting for the council to promote me, because you can't get promoted unless they get you. You know, they have to handpick you, and most of the time, guys, you're not going to get handpicked. You are not in the club. You are not in the club unless your daddy is Barack Obama, unless your daddy is in the unless you know you're connected. You have to have a connection in this world, guys. I'm pretty sure that's a universal law by now, right? So unless you have a connection or if you're invited in somehow, I think that, like, people like Elon Musk, people like maybe Alex Jones, you know, like, you get so big that they can't ignore you, and then they pull you in, you know, and you either sell out or, you know, get killed. So that's how it works, I think. And the 33rd, guys, those are your Epsteins. Those are the people the Pizzagate people, the pedophiles. Yes, I do believe that this is all true, okay? So let's get into this. Let's get into Enoch, okay? They worship Enoch. Book of Enoch was discovered in the 2nd century, right? They found out that it was another part to the Bible of the Old Testament. Enoch is talked about in Genesis. And Enoch's interesting because him and the prophet Elijah in the Bible are the only two people who do not die a physical death. So the story of Enoch's interesting because Enoch gets into heaven, right? God picks him up into heaven, and he gets a lot of knowledge. He has access to a lot of shit, okay? This is a metaphor. The aliens plucked whatever out, you know, I don't want to say aliens. I want to say our creators, which are us, okay? They're a higher evolved, less strange version of us. I can't tell you what they look like or what they are. I don't know, but I do believe that it is just something that would probably look similar to us. So they came in with their UFO, their chariot, and they plucked him up. And in the Bible, in the story of Enoch, he's in heaven, right? And he gets a lot of knowledge. He gets mathematical knowledge. He gets literary knowledge of God, but he also encounters God's fallen angels. He encounters a group known as the Watchers, okay? And this is where the demonic rumors come in, and I think that these are true, okay? Because the Watchers teach him about the power of child sacrifice. They teach him the power of ritual, of black magic, how to do it. It's real. And these Watchers, the reason why they were bad, they were God's angels, is because they were the ones who were on Earth, you know, who mated with the humans and created the demigods or the Nephilim, okay? If you have Rh negative blood, you probably are connected to these higher beings somehow. Now, what ended up happening is if you read Genesis, obviously they open up with Noah's flood, and Enoch was Noah's grandfather or great-grandfather. I can't recall which one he was. I believe it was his grandfather, though. So, Enoch caught wind of this flood, right? And obviously so what ended up happening was Enoch pulled a trick on God. Enoch went down, he made a secret underground vault, and he made 2 pillars inside of this vault, right? He had one pillar containing the mathematical knowledge, and then he made another pillar containing the literary knowledge, and then he put the word of God, the name of God. And if you follow, you know, these doctrines at all, you know that without the word of God, learning is impossible. So now, if we continue the story, there's in Masonic lore, there's 2 characters, right, that discover these pillars, right? There's Hermes and there's Pythagorean, right? So Hermes discovers the literary knowledge of God, and you know, he restores it to humanity, and likewise Pythagorean discovers, you know, the mathematical knowledge of God, which is where you get your 47th Euclides, the right triangle, you know, the Pythagorean theorem. You know, this is what they're referring to. And now getting into the federal district and why this is important, right, is because so Hermes was he's a very important character because Hermes is inscribed mathematical. He discovers the mathematical knowledge of God, right, of the aliens, of the higher beings, and on his tablet, what's inscribed on his tablet is the Hermetic maxim, as above, so below, which basically means that body. If you're a mason building things, right, what this means is that when you create a body of importance, right, if you're building something that's important, it needs to be astrally aligned, because you will channel the power from the heavens if you are astrally aligned. DC is interesting. I'll throw up a map of DC right now with the pentagram. I don't know if some of you have heard of it, but basically this broken pentagram is a reference to the Egyptian star Sirius, right? So the pentagram contains, the White House, it has the obelisk, the Washington Monument, and it has the, what's it called? The dome on the Capitol. And the dome is a very prominent Masonic symbol. The dome is everywhere in Mason. So yes, this pentagram is a reference to the 5 points of fellowship Masonic ritual, right? It's essentially the resurrecting and then coming back to life. It's a Masonic ritual. That's what they do in there. That's what the symbolism represents. Masonry is just based off astrology, essentially, okay? Masonry is based off of Egyptian philosophy, Egyptian mythology, which is based off Hermetic mythology, which is how the planets rotated, the sun, the moon, the constant ever-flowing, omniscient presence of these forces that are always in our lives, the planets, the heavenly bodies. The heavenly bodies, guys, are all we have in this world, okay? The sun and the moon are the only thing that I see in the night sky. I do not see any King James Bibles. For real, okay? They have a point. There's a reason why the ancient mystery schools worship astrology. They know, okay? They know. So this is the 5 points of fellowship. The pentagram in Washington, D.C. is a reference to, in the story, so in Egyptian mythology, Isis is the virgin goddess, right? She's the virgin goddess, and she resurrects her, she resurrected Osiris, so then together they produced Horus, which represented, knowledge, the eye of Horus, the all-seeing eye, the I see everywhere, I'm wise. That's what Horus represents. Now, another interesting thing about Washington, D.C. is that the White House is forming a Pythagorean right triangle, right? So if you go from the White House to the Washington Monument to the up the Mall to the Capitol on Pennsylvania Avenue, that is a right triangle, and that is clear reference to the 47th proposition of Euclid. This is a symbol. The right triangle is a symbol of Masonic rulership, okay? So the hypotenuse is the master mason, okay? The hypotenuse represents Horus, okay? It represents the wise, the knowing, the how do you figure out this Pythagorean theorem type of thing, the ancient knowledge. That's what they represent, because no one should know how to do that. They should not have known how to derive that. Pythagoras should not have known how to derive this hypotenuse, but that's why the master mason sits there. It's like, ooh, wow, we're so smart, And then on the so the way masonry works is, so there's junior and senior wardens, right? So the master mason sits on the hypotenuse, the junior is on this side, and then the senior is on the other side, okay? That's all it is, people. It's just a Masonic reference. That's all it is. And if you want to go deeper into that, even our government, okay, the way we run government, so the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch, right? So the president, the House and the Senate, and the Supreme Court. Division of 3, a Masonic reference, which is a solar allegory. This is reference to the sun rising, the sun initially rising, midday sun, and then, the end sun, the setting sun. Solar allegory. Everything's astrology, guys. I'm sorry, it is. So some would argue that, yeah, okay, they have power, but that's a good thing because they're the enlightened ones. And I mean, sure, I get it. But the problem is that we need to get into the child sacrifice aspect of this. We need to get into the Satanism part of this because as I was saying before, Enoch, was very important. So Enoch was in heavens. He met the vile, the watchers, the God's fallen angels, the people that would be in hell in Bible talk. Clearly Enoch represents. There's sort of two interpretations you can take from this. So Enoch represents the serpent in Adam and Eve in the garden. He's the one who tries to offer humans this knowledge, this satanic knowledge, and you're supposed to say, no, I'm good, I don't need it. And I think that some would say that Satanism is an allegory, right? The serpent's an allegory. It's a metaphor. It's a reference to knowledge that God doesn't want us to have. God doesn't want us to have that ancient knowledge that, Enoch inscribed that was restored to humanity. God does not want that. Okay? It makes sense. I get it. You know, if you're creating us in a universe and you have a planet, you don't want them to know. You know, they're like, fuck, you know, we're not that smart. It looks like they can figure it out too. Fuck. You know, I get it. But the child sacrifice thing has merit to it because, yes, Pizzagate's real. Epstein Island's real, okay? That shit is real, guys. George Bush is the grandson of Aleister Crowley, the biggest Satanist to ever exist, the guy who started that. Deborah Bush sits with a fetus on her desk, guys. They're fucking weird. These are weirdos, okay? And here's the thing. Here's what I think, okay? So like I said, there's always these, they get in somehow, and we don't know how they do it, right? But they have access, right? These are the hood and cloak people, the people who, you know, are in the you know, the skull and bones. They eat jizz and fuck each other and eat poop or whatever they do. I don't know. That's all true, though. They definitely all do that. The rituals are disgusting. And I think they use it. So there's a certain group of people, right? The main people that are known to, they're traced back to the Brotherhood of the Serpent, okay? So these are essentially, you know, Enoch's, you know, disciples. Enoch probably sacrificed children, okay? You know, the enlightened ones were known to do fucked up shit. You know, the Greeks, the Pythagoreans. I'm Greek too, but I hate, and it kills me. They're rats. So you have to call it a rat when there's a rat, okay? Aristotle, Pythagoras, you know, all those guys in Greek philosophy were definitely molesting children, okay? And they obviously had some sort of ancient knowledge. So is this ancient knowledge, you know, once you get to the 33rd degree, is that something they require? I think yes. They want enlightenment, guys. I want enlightenment too. You should all want enlightenment. Great human beings should want enlightenment, okay? It's time to wake up out of the matrix. It is time to pull your ass out of this fucking bullshit that we're in right now. Stop watching Netflix. Drink water. Take care of yourself. Only do things that benefit you, your mind, your body, your soul. Alright, guys? Enlightenment is found not through the Masons, not through Jesus, not through anyone but yourself. You are not going to find true enlightenment in this world externally. Yeah, sure, you can use some psychedelics and it helps you and you can get a reference, but I'm just saying, guys, that it is through you. You need to find your conquest. You need to find your pursuit of knowledge. Knowledge is infinite. It needs to be pursued. Okay, guys? Guys, this is all within you. You need to be your own fucking inspiration. Lean on your own fucking mind. Don't everything I'm saying, take with a grain of salt. You need to find your truth, guys. That is enlightenment. That is the revolution. All right? Peace out. I love y'all.